My name's Danny. I'm 35, and I fix laptops for a living. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills and keeps my hands busy. And I've always liked fixing things. That's probably why I never saw it coming. I believed people were like machines. If something was broken, you just had to figure out where the damage was and repair it. But people aren't machines, and some things don't break. They rot. Lisa and I have been married for 6 years. She works as an executive assistant at a law firm downtown, clean blazers, sharp heels, the kind of confidence that turns heads in a room. I always loved that about her. She made me feel like I was enough just by choosing me. A few months ago, on a random Tuesday morning, I couldn't find my wallet. I'd left it on the kitchen counter. I was sure of it. In a rush, I checked the bedroom, the bathroom, then her purse. Not something I normally do, but we were late. That's when I found them. A black box of Trojan Magnum thin condoms, and a small bottle of high-end silicone lubricant, the kind we never used. In fact, I remember Lisa once saying that brand gave her irritation. She hated it. I stood there, staring into her bag like it was a doorway to another reality. My hands went cold. The buzzing in my ears started, but I didn't blow up. I zipped the bag shut, stepped back, and sat on the edge of the bed. I'd like to say I was shocked, but the truth is, something clicked. Like a code I'd been staring at for months finally decrypted. The late nights, the sudden showers, the new lingerie I never saw her wear. She was careful, so careful, but not perfect. When she came in, kissed my cheek, and asked if I'd found my wallet, I smiled. Yeah, found it under the couch. That was my first lie. Or maybe my first move. That night, I sat up in the garage with a beer, thinking I didn't want to scream or confront her in a dramatic burst of pain. That's not me. I wanted to know. I needed more than suspicion. I needed truth, and I wanted control. So I made a plan. I started small, watching her habits, noting changes in her calendar, making mental notes. She'd told me everything I needed to destroy her, and she didn't even know it. Lisa didn't cheat with the lights off. She cheated under fluorescent ones, at work, in rooms with HR policies and bad coffee. This wasn't just about betrayal. It was about disrespect. She thought I was too average to notice, too nice, too slow, but she forgot what I do for a living. I don't rage, I repair. And sometimes, when something's too far gone, I dismantle. From the outside, everything between us looked the same. I still made her coffee in the morning. She still kissed me goodbye. We still smiled in public. But inside, I was rewiring the whole house. Every have a good day was a silent countdown. Every dinner conversation was a test. Every kiss was one step closer to the edge. I started tracking her behavior like I would a software bug, logging inconsistencies, watching patterns. Lisa had always been ambitious. She stayed late often, talked about proving herself to the partners at the firm. I used to admire that, but now I saw it differently. Every time she mentioned Richard Patterson, the senior partner who mentored her, a small piece of me hardened. He was 52, divorced twice, drove a matte black Jaguar, the kind of guy who smiled too long at interns and called everyone kid. I met him once at a holiday party. He barely registered me. Then one Thursday night, Lisa said she had a conference overnight at the Hampton Suites outside town. Supposedly, the firm booked rooms for all the senior support staff. She was glowing, excited even. I smiled and nodded, just like always. But that night, I installed a GPS tracker in her car. Took me 10 minutes. I stayed up watching the app on my phone. The dot didn't move for hours. Then around 10:43 p.m., it stopped at the Hampton Suites, room 724. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I waited until she left for the second day of meetings. I drove to the hotel and asked casually at the front desk if my sister Lisa had left something in her room. The woman glanced up. Oh, Lisa Martin? She checked out this morning. Room 724. My chest tightened. I booked room 624, directly below. Later that day, when she came home, I asked how it went. She said exhausting, but she crushed the presentations. I nodded, offering her a beer. She declined, said she needed a long shower. That's when I began preparing. I borrowed binoculars from my brother-in-law, who's a birdwatcher. I set up motion detection on her laptop. I checked phone backups for deleted messages. Nothing juicy yet. Lisa was careful. I'll give her that. The next opportunity came a week later. Patterson invited the executive staff for another overnight conference. She said, playing it casual, folding laundry. It's all very last minute. I said, you deserve the recognition. She smiled, kissed me, and packed her best heels. This time, I was ready. I drove up late and checked into room 624 again. Around midnight, I heard them. Thin walls, laughter. Then something else, noises I hadn't heard in a long time. And through it all, her voice, higher, playful, cruel in its distance from the version of herself I knew. I didn't cry. Instead, I set my phone against the wall and recorded everything. Time-stamped, clear audio. Later, I stepped outside, leaned against my car across from the back entrance, and waited. At 6:14 a.m., I snapped a photo of them leaving together. She was laughing, hair wet, holding her heels in one hand. They didn't see me. I drove home in silence, poured myself a glass of bourbon, and sat in the dark living room. The proof was there. The lie had a face now, a sound, a smell, and I wasn't angry. I was calm. Because now, I wasn't hunting shadows anymore. Now I had targets. The third time they met, I was ready with more than just a recorder. I checked into room 624 again. Same hotel, same weekend pattern. Lisa had started using phrases like executive development retreat and cross-department collaboration, corporate jargon meant to fog the truth. But the lies didn't bother me anymore. I'd stopped thinking of her as my wife. She was a project now, a broken one. This time, I brought headphones. The cheap walls made it easy to hear, but the headphones made it intimate. Too intimate. It was Saturday night. They came in laughing, loud, tipsy. I heard the pop of a wine cork, clinking glasses. Then his voice, Patterson, arrogant and low. He still hasn't figured it out? Lisa's laughter followed. Danny, please. He thinks I'm working on spreadsheets. They both laughed harder than they should have. She kept going. He gets excited when I tell him I have meetings. Poor guy probably thinks I'm networking. Meanwhile, silence. Then a moan. Then another. I took the headphones off. My hands were steady, but my jaw was locked tight. I wasn't listening for arousal or betrayal anymore. I was listening for evidence of contempt. And I found it. Later, I played the recording back. Lisa saying I was as predictable as plain toast. Patterson calling me Mr. Fix-It with mock reverence. They joked about how I probably watched YouTube videos about how to keep your marriage alive. It wasn't just infidelity. It was humiliation. That's when the plan sharpened. I went home the next day and opened a drawer full of parts, things I'd kept from years of computer repairs. I needed precision now. Clean work. First, the lubricant I'd seen in her purse. I ordered a matching bottle and filled it with a blend of green clothing dye and capsaicin extract, the active component in pepper spray. It was an old prank formula I read about on a security forum. Harmless but unforgettable. Second, punctured condoms. Microscopic needle holes. I wore gloves. Ray sealed the box to look untouched. The next time Lisa said she was heading to a 2-day firm workshop, I smiled and said, "Take your time. You deserve it." Before she left, I slipped into her overnight bag, swapped out the original lube bottle and condoms with the altered versions. She never checked. That night, I didn't go to the hotel. I didn't need to. I sat in the garage with the radio low, imagining the scene unfolding to floors up in room 724. By 2 a.m., I got the first alert, a video going viral in a local gossip group. Footage of paramedics wheeling a half-naked man and a crying woman out of a hotel hallway, both of them covered in green streaks, scratching and wailing. Guests filmed from cracked doors. One video caught Lisa screaming, "It burns. Oh my God. It burns." Patterson was in his boxers, his face bright red, his pride ruined. I leaned back in my chair and let out a breath. It wasn't rage. It wasn't even joy. It was control. I had turned their private mockery into a public stain, one that wouldn't wash out. This wasn't just revenge. It was restoration.